November the 6th, 1956. British paratroopers are ordered out of Egypt. The Suez Canal, the artery Britain built an empire to protect, is gone. Within 11 months, the Bank of England quietly signs off on something with no name, no ceremony, and no headline, and it ends up worth more than the empire it replaced. Most people know the ending to this story. They just have the wrong ending. The version taught in schools, repeated in documentaries, printed under fading photographs of the Union Jack coming down over 100 territories, goes like this. Britain lost the empire, and with it, lost relevance. The pound was devalued. The colonies became debtors, not tributaries. New York inherited global finance. Tokyo later took a share too. London became a museum, beautiful, historic, and irrelevant. A city of blue plaques mourning what it used to be. It is a satisfying story. It has a beginning, a middle, and a moral. It is also, almost entirely, fiction. Here is what actually happened. In 1957, with the empire in visible collapse and sterling under speculative attack, the Bank of England made a decision it never advertised and never fully explained. British banks were losing the ability to lend in their own currency. Capital controls made sterling lending abroad too risky, too regulated, too exposed. So London did something almost embarrassingly simple. It stopped insisting the money be British. It let its banks lend dollars instead. American dollars, held outside America, unregulated by the Federal Reserve, unregulated by anyone. The Eurodollar market was born not from ambition, but from necessity. Nobody voted on it. Nobody announced it. It simply started, and by the time anyone in Washington understood what had happened, London was already the clearinghouse for money that belonged to no nation at all. This is the detail worth sitting with. The empire didn't fall and then get replaced by something else. It changed currency. It changed jurisdiction. It shed governance, shed territory, shed the entire visible apparatus of colonial rule, and kept every relationship that mattered. The same banking families who financed rubber in Malaya and oil in Persia didn't retire. They pivoted. The clients didn't leave. Only the flag came down. To understand why this worked, you have to understand what the City of London actually is, because it is not, and has never been, a normal part of the British state. The City of London Corporation is a medieval institution wearing a modern suit, a local authority with its own police force, its own Lord Mayor, its own ancient voting system that gives businesses more electoral weight than residents, and a level of independence from Parliament that predates Parliament itself. It is not fully public. It is not fully private. It exists in the gap between the two, and that gap is the entire business model. Around this anomaly, London built something closer to a nervous system than an empire, a ring of jurisdictions technically outside the United Kingdom, but never quite independent of it. Jersey, Guernsey, the Isle of Man. Then further out, the Cayman Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Gibraltar, Bermuda. Crown dependencies and overseas territories, each with its own legislature, its own legal fiction of sovereignty, and each quietly calibrated to do one thing extremely well: receive capital with no questions attached, and forward the relationship, though rarely the money itself, back to London. This is the mechanism, stripped of sentiment. A resource fortune extracted from a former colony doesn't need to sit in that colony's economy, subject to that colony's tax authority, or even Britain's. It sits in a British Virgin Islands shell company, managed by a Jersey trust. audited by a London-based firm with a 400-year-old name, and banked, ultimately, through the city. The empire once needed soldiers to hold that value in place. Now it needs a solicitor and a registered agent. The margins are the same. The overhead has collapsed to almost nothing. That is the entire genius of the arrangement, and I want you to notice how cold it is. An empire has to police its subjects. It has to maintain armies, administer courts, absorb the cost of rebellion. A financial network has none of these obligations. It doesn't need loyalty. It needs paperwork. No territory to govern means no territory to lose. The fee remains long after the flag is gone. The scale this produced is not subtle. By the 1980s, the Eurodollar market, that improvised, unregulated workaround from 1957, had grown into the primary artery of global dollar lending, worth trillions. The Eurobond market grew alongside it, becoming the default mechanism through which governments and corporations borrowed internationally, priced and settled overwhelmingly through London. Today, credible estimates place roughly a third of all global offshore wealth as flowing through British-linked jurisdictions. The Crown dependencies and overseas territories acting, in effect, as the largest private wealth management network on Earth, wearing the modest disguise of small islands with unremarkable populations. There are winners here, and they are not abstract. The city itself, whose financial sector now contributes a share of the British economy that the empire, at its territorial peak, never came close to matching. The legal and accountancy dynasties that quietly rebranded from colonial administration to secrecy jurisdiction consulting. Same families, same client books, new letterhead. And there are losers, equally specific. Developing nations, many of them former colonies, still experiencing capital flight that runs, with a grim symmetry, straight back through the same network that once extracted their raw materials directly. Ordinary taxpayers, in Britain, in the islands themselves, in the nations being drained, who fund the public services that footloose capital declines to pay into, because the entire architecture exists to ensure it never has to. Here is the principle underneath all of it, and it applies well beyond 1956. Political empires are visible, and visibility is expensive. They require flags, garrisons, courts, and eventually, uncomfortable questions about legitimacy. They are, by their nature, mortal. Financial infrastructure requires none of that visibility. It requires only jurisdiction, a plausible legal fiction, and the quiet cooperation of people who understand that discretion is more valuable than transparency. Infrastructure does not get liberated. Nobody marches on a trust structure. Nobody wins independence from a holding company. This is not a historical curiosity. It is the operating logic of power right now. Watch where modern capital and modern intelligence infrastructure are actually choosing to sit. Not in the countries with the loudest political claims to relevance, but in the quietest jurisdictions with the most favorable, most invisible legal architecture. Data havens instead of colonies, regulatory arbitrage instead of gunboats. The nations performing power on the world stage are increasingly not the ones holding it. The ones holding it are the ones nobody is watching, because nothing about them photographs well. The Union Jack came down over more than 100 countries in the space of a single generation. Not one flag has ever had to come down over a bank account.